Hello, I'm an old guy and I do maths. The task ahead of us today is to solve and graph this cubic. Now, in order to solve it, I suppose we should make it equal 0. My notation is a bit lazy and sloppy after years of doing this. I apologize for that. Okay, so how do we do this? Well, the first thing to say is that we do have some information already. This is our y-intercept. So that's something. And that's the easy part of it over. Right, so a sensible approach to this is to start with factor theorem and just see if you can put a number into this and make this equal 0. So we're going to start with 1, and if that doesn't work, we'll go to -1, and if that doesn't work, we'll go to 2, and so forth and so on. Okay, so we're going to replace x with 1. So x minus 1, if this is successful, x minus 1 will be a factor. Okay, so 1 cubed minus 4 times 1 squared minus 7 times 1 plus 10. 1 minus 4 minus 7 plus 10 equals 0. 1 works. X minus 1 is a factor of this equation. Here's our next move. So there's a process, and you're just watching me work my way through it. 4x squared minus 7x plus 10. Okay, we're now into the long division of a polynomial, and what this is going to do is it's hopefully going to give us a quadratic factor up here, which we can relatively easily factorize into possibly two factors. I think it would be too much to hope for that it would be a perfect square and we get one factor or one solution out of it, but one never knows. Anyway, here we go. So the process is, what do I do to x to get x cubed? Well, I multiply it by x squared, and that gives me x cubed minus x squared. And I subtract that. This disappears. Negative 4x squared essentially plus x squared gives me negative 3x squared, and I bring down the 7x. What do I do to x to get negative 3x squared? I multiply it by negative 3x, negative 3x squared plus 3x, and I will subtract that. And this is going to work out, I can tell already. This disappears. Negative 7x minus 3x gives me negative 10x, and I bring down the 10. What do I do to this to get negative 10x? Well, I multiply it by negative 10. And that gives me negative 10x plus 10, 0 remainder. This is my quadratic factor. Okay, so let's take our information to a fresh page and get to work. So we have one factor here, x minus 1, and we have a quadratic factor here, x squared minus 3x minus 10. And we are aware that that is the y-intercept. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to factorize this. And this is why you have spent so much time in your maths career to date factorizing quadratics. You've got to be good at this once you progress into the higher polynomials. So factors will be x and x. Factors of 10 that add to 3, well, negative 10, 5 and 3, so we'll get negative 5 and, 5 and 2, I beg your pardon, and positive 2. Negative 5 times x gives me negative 5x, plus 2x gives me negative 3x. So our factors are this, this, and this. And we can now draw this thing with most of its features. We have a y-intercept at 10. So let's get that in there. So that is 0, 10. We have an x-intercept at 1, make this equal to 0, and we get 1. I'm just going to write it in there as 1 without putting the coordinates in just yet. At negative 2, so that's negative 2, and at positive 5 over here at positive 5. So our next mission is to join the dots. Okay, now this is a positive cubic. Here it is. It's a positive cubic. So it's going to run from here down into this quadrant. So let's just start sketching. So say I'm joining dots. And that is very roughly what this cubic would look like. Now, there are a couple of features missing, and they're covered in another video because calculus is required to find them. We don't have the maximum and the minimum points, the local maximum and minimum, or what could be called the stationary points. That involves differentiating the original equation and solving the differential. But if you're starting out with cubics, and you can do this, you're doing well. So just to go back through the process, first of all, we have our y-intercept. We try factor theorem, and we discover that 1 is a solution, and therefore x minus 1 is a factor, because we can make this thing equal 0 when we put 1 into it. Next thing is the long division. Fortunately, no remainder, so this is definitely a factor. Factorize this, and we get 2 linear factors. And these give us our points of intersection on the x-axis, and we already have our y-intercept. So we have the 4 points of interest for this cubic, minus the turning points, which of course is a subject for a further video. See you later. Thanks very much for watching. I hope this was helpful. Bye.